Good afternoon. Welcome to Kalingang Katribo. My name is Vernon Velasco, and today we are joined by the VP of SM Corporate Social Responsibility, Chito Bauzon, to talk about SM's triple bottom line and sustainability in this time of pandemic. So, hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hi, magandang hapon, Vernon, and maraming salamat to the Daily Tribune for having me here. I'm here on behalf of our president, Mr. Stephen Tan, and maraming salamat at kami ay nandito para makipagkwentuhan sa inyo about some of our CSR efforts for SM Supermalls.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon po. So, what are you currently working on now on SM Supermalls in terms of sustainability? We've actually heard a lot about your biking initiatives or plastic initiatives. So, what are you doing now, sir?
Okay, siguro, magandang nabanggit mo yan, Vernon, kasi I guess especially ngayong panahon ng pandemya, we had to be flexible in most of our advocacies. And tama ka, many of our programs, especially for 2021, revolved around especially involving the community. So yung nabanggit mo kanina, some of our projects include the SM Cares programs for the environment, especially yung ating plastic waste collection program, wherein we have made use of four of our malls in Metro Manila, SM Mall of Asia, North EDSA, Mega Mall, and Fairview, to serve as a plastic collection bin. So sinimulan po natin yan ngayong February, and this is held in partnership with Plastic Credit Exchange. So bukod po dyan, we've also launched our electronic waste collection program naman po. This is held across all our 76 SM Supermalls nationwide. Ang layon po nito is to help educate our customers and the community on how to responsibly dispose of their electronic waste. At tama ka, nabanggit mo kanina, isa sa mga pinakamalaking at bago naming advocacy is the Bike-Friendly SM project, wherein we have slowly transformed and improved the facilities and capabilities of our SM malls to become more bike-friendly para po tayo ay mas makapagtulungan at makatulong sa lumalaking bike riding public. So ilan po yan sa ating mga CSR projects ngayon ng SM Supermalls.
Yeah, so there's basically so much. I mean, there's a lot. Pero,
mamaya siguro I think I can remember some of them. I'm sure I wanted to share more, but I guess I can share some of them later.
Yes, sir. But let's start dun sa himayin natin yung sa plastic and electronics waste recycling. How is it received by your stakeholders?
So actually nag-start yan, Vernon, with our cash-to-cash recycling market. Ito, it started, I think this was about 2007, wala pa ako sa SM yan. But the cash-to-cash recycling market is one of our programs, again, that hopes to educate the community on responsible solid waste management. Siguro kung naaalala niyo yung parang dyaryo bote na concept dati.
Yes.
But this time, you bring your recyclables to the mall, yung plastic and PET bottles, cartons, cardboards, kitchen, cookware, etc. And each of them all have their partner haulers. So yan yung nagsimula nun. So it's held every first Friday and Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, again, in the quest of innovating, at saka nakita natin, mas lumalaki na ngayon yung concerns about plastic. Nakipag-partner ang SM Supermalls and SM Cares with Plastic Credit Exchange. So nangyari yan, we have become a plastic aggregator wherein we make use of our malls as a venue for people to bring their plastic waste. And then these are all collected in turn by PCX, by Plastic Credit Exchange. Yan yung usual na may proseso yan sila with their partners na either it becomes pelletized to be used as new raw materials or converted to other end products such as benches, yung mga ganyan, mga
Yeah.
planks, etc. So, but for now, since we started ng February, naging collection hub kami, yung apat na malls. And hopefully, we get to add more malls as we go along. And then yung electronic waste naman, then isa rin yan kasi sa common na concern ng karamihan sa atin. No? There's a lot of new phones, new gadgets, no? Maya't maya may mga bago tayong kable. And we get feedback from our customers. No? O baka meron dyang don't you accept electronic waste or itong mga cables na ito. So we worked with one of our partners also who collects e-waste. And then meron lang kami mga donation bins, drop-off bins in SM malls where people can just drop off their e-waste. Usually mga cables yan, mga small calculators, mga old phones. And then again, these are all collected by our partners for hinihimayan kung alin dyan ang pwedeng ma-recycle na parts and the rest are treated for being hazardous waste.
Yeah, Chito, what are your insights on this? I mean, money is money is one thing, 'di ba? Pero how do you incentivize? Parang 'di ba sa electronic bins nga, 'di ba, parang it's just right there so that people can basically just drop their waste there in their own volition.
Yes.
How do you incentivize?
Personal thoughts ko on that kasi sustainability it's a huge topic, no? And it covers a lot of things, no? There always has to be that balance between economic progress, especially the jobs that are being provided to the public, dala ng economic progress, and of course caring for the environment. So napakalaking usapin yan. But I guess specific to these three projects which I mentioned, I think maganda na nagkakaroon ng direct engagement yung SM Supermalls and the public. Kumbaga hindi lang basta na nag-donate ka or kumuha ka ng ganito, but there is an engagement with our stakeholders. No? In fact, especially yung plastic collection program at saka yung cash to cash, we've seen several social media pages wherein sila mismo yung nag-encourage sa ibang tao. Ito may venue, pwede yun dalhin sa SM, etc. It goes beyond what we usually do, which is provide the mall as a retail space. So it's really more of what can we do? What else can we do to work with the community, to help? Kasi kumbaga, pakinabangan na natin kung andyan yung mall. So let's make use of the mall as not just as a community center, but also as a place where people can recycle and can do their part for helping care for the environment.
Yeah. In terms of your bike program, can you tell us more about that, Chito?
Okay. So, nagsimula itong aming bike-friendly SM project last year. No? Although, I must say, even before the pandemic, meron ng mga bike racks in some of our malls. No? But I guess it got amplified because nakita nga natin last year, because of the pandemic, because of the restrictions, nagkaroon ng challenge yung karamihan ng ating mga kababayan para makapunta sa opisina, makauwi sa bahay, or just to go about with their daily routine. So, ang naging tanong ng aming principals mismo, how can we help? How can we make it easy for them? No? Nandito na rin yung SM Mall. So, how can we make it easy for them? No? For the commuters, for our employees to come to the mall using their bikes. So, that kind of triggered it. No? And so, we made sure na all our malls slowly transform to become more bike-friendly. Diyan na namin nilagay yung mga bike parking facilities. Meron din dyan, may mga service repair stations. No? Siniguro namin, we have more than 80 repair stations across the country. We have more than 520 bike racks, which roughly can accommodate about 9,000 to 10,000 bikes all over the nationwide yan. And then, ang pinakakagandahan nito is we wanted the bike-friendly project of SM to be really consultative and inclusive. Kasi una-una, it's really meant to serve the public. It's really meant to serve the bike riding public. So we want it consultative. Kaya kami nakipag-partner with different organizations such as Manila Moves, Firefly Brigade, the Department of Transportation, MMDA, even partnerships with the embassies of Denmark, embassies of Netherlands. Kasi we wanted to make sure na we do it right, we do it correctly. So, yan. So, it's an ongoing process. So, kagandahan yan, since we started nung September last year, since we launched here in MOA, sunod-sunod na yan. We've had several webinars to educate and inform the public about, ultimately, ang message natin dyan, Vernon, is ano yung role na pwede naming maitulong to make our roads more inclusive for the bike riding public. So, just a month ago, we launched our bike manual. It's held in partnership with DOTR, but this is in accordance to the active transport guidelines ng DOTR. Nag-print lang yung SM. That's about 150,000 copies, and we just distribute it for free to bike riders across the country. So ganyan siya. It's constantly evolving. There's a lot of consultation with our partners. In fact, ngayon, one of our partners, Firefly Brigade, is doing the Salubungan tour in several SM malls. It's about 12 malls yan. And then the other day sila, Manila Moves naman, did their bike tour also in select SM malls.
You've said consultative, no? So, can you give an anecdote where you've actually heeded the call of of them for your projects? Not necessarily bikes. Yeah.
Marami kasi yan eh. Siguro, actually one specific anecdote, hindi siya sa bike, but I don't know if iwalay ko na ito, no? Yung isa sa program on persons with disabilities, no? If I may digress a bit, Vernon. Yung SM Cares kasi, how it started, this was about 2004, when there was a customer, there was a young teen who got lost in one of our malls. Tagal na yan. Then lahat ng mga gwardiya hinanap kasi syempre yung mother sumangguni sa admin. They couldn't find the lost man. No? Hanggang sa na-realize that this young man is a person with autism. So, ang isa sa mga natatanda ko anecdote, what I saw directly from Mr. Hansi himself is, it was an eye-opener for us. So we had to know how to handle customers with special needs. So that kind of started it. So nag-reach out din kami and we worked, that started our partnerships with Autism Society Philippines. Ang palaging sinishare ng aming principles dyan is, you teach us, you let us know how to help or at least identify or handle customers with special needs. Kasi hindi naman namin expertise yan. Siyempre, especially for a person with autism, you cannot easily identified physically. So kumbaga yan, these are learnings for us, no? So in-acknowledge mismo ng aming management at that time. And fortunately, it happened. Kasi ngayon, SM Cares, kahit pa paano, we've established almost 50 partnerships, both local and nationwide, local and international.
Yes, sir, COVID-19, there are actually just a convergence of a lot of crises right now. So how do you find a sweet spot po, let's say in COVID-19, in order for you to basically help your stakeholders sustainably?
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess specific to COVID-19, Vernon, last year, nung tinamaan lahat talaga tayo, we were struggling to
get by.
Idea of what was happening and how to survive, no?
Yeah.
So ganun din yung nangyari sa karamihan ng aming mga tenants, no? So you must have read, nagkaroon din ng rental relief for most of our tenants. Last year, I think it was over 20 billion worth of rental concessions given to them, no? Kasi yan ang aming negosyo, tenants in the mall and supporting the MSMEs. So immediately, management had to reach out and do something to help out the tenants, no? Number two, hindi natatapos yun na nagkaroon ng rental relief for our tenants, no? But as part of our CSR initiatives and consolidation of all efforts, we had to make sure that the mall was a safe place for shoppers to come, no? Ang napakahalaga niyan to support our MSMEs is really to bring back the consumer confidence that the mall is safe, no? That's why we've had a lot of partnerships, no? We even had a partnership with Safeguard to really campaign and rally safe malling. We did yung what you call this, yung dine-in SM. We converted several of our spaces, and again, in order to really encourage the customers to see that the malls are practicing and observing health and safety protocols. Kasi yan ang siguro yung pinakamagandang tulong natin for our MSME tenants is really to patronize them.
Yeah.
And then we also partnered Vernon with different groups kasi yung baga nagsabay-sabay na, sige, lahat ng efforts na pwede nating maitulong, no? We even partnered with the Association of Filipino Franchisers for their campaign, yung Bayanihan. Kasi sa kanila naman, they needed a partner to amplify the message that your MSMEs are also people, yung mga suki natin. So yeah, so we supported that campaign. Some of our provincial malls, Vernon had the bike riders campaign. Yung mga formerly tricycle drivers na nawalan ng trabaho noon, they were part of the bike riding program. Almost 1,000 individuals din yan. They became riders for those who want to shop from home. We've created also strengthened our digital community. On Facebook alone, we have about siguro to more than 25 million yung aming fan base. So nagsabay-sabay yung aming initiatives in order to really help our tenants and at the same time work together with our customers and the community. So marami pa yun kasi this is just SM Supermalls. Iba pa yung initiatives nila SM Foundation. So it's really a concerted effort to make sure that we do our part to help the community.
Chito, we're going to go back to the to CSR being shared values, no? Pero yeah, that's when we come back.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
You're watching Kalingang Katribo with SM Cares. We'll be back.
Mike and I, we love different things. From choosing our food
to relaxing or keeping fit.
You are watching Kalingang Katribo with SM Cares, Chito Bauzon. So, sir, we've actually touched on your initiatives, biking, plastic, PWDs. So, sir, what do you think, on your insights, what do you think is the role of business in society in general?
Napakalaking bagay. I guess, for one, it supports our nation, no? Sa ekonomiya, sa trabaho, sa negosyo, at basta maraming bagay pa, no? When businesses are put up or are set up in a certain community or in certain city, it immediately provides an opportunity for employment, for livelihood, di ba? So, malaki rin ang role na nagagampanan ng individual businesses in helping our nation move forward, especially on the terms of economic progress.
But sir, basically with SM, parang it's leading Parang it's not basically just for the profit. Parang it has always delivered on the triple bottom line. So you've served your communities, you've delivered in the SDGs. How do you sort of involve your stakeholders? Although napag-usapan na natin kanina. How do you I want you to elucidate more on that. I mean, what's
Okay. Siguro ang kagandahan din yan, Vernon, is ang inspiration namin hindi na nalalayo. We get our inspiration from from the chairman of the executive committee of SM Prime Holdings himself, Mr. Hansi. Especially pagdating sa CSR kasi mas dyan ako nalilin sa trabaho, no? We see his dedication, his involvement. He's very passionate about sustainability and resilience. In fact, yung resilience, hindi ko pa nakikwento yan sa'yo, no? But yung question mo kanina, how do we really involve our stakeholders? siguro pagdating dyan sa bagay niya, no, in terms of partnerships, no, when we establish partnerships, that automatically connects us to the advocates or to the communities that we hope to serve, no, in the communities, no. Kumbaga, pagdating naman sa commercial or sa marketing side, there's always a way for us to reach out and find out kung ano ba yung pulso ng ating community. Kumbaga, syempre, as a business, not only does it provide you with information on your customer or consumer behavior, but it also connects you. Kumbaga, para hindi ka rin alienated sa galaw ng negosyo versus the community. So, kaya yung na-share ko sa iyo kanina na some of our CSR programs, kasi syempre, Vernon, last year, di ba, SM Cares, we have different advocacies na for PWDs, for senior citizens, women and breastfeeding mothers, environment, youth, and the bike-friendly project. No?
Yes.
So when the pandemic hit last year, obviously, a big chunk of our stakeholders could not visit us back, like the seniors, and iba natagalan, medyo bago sila nakabalik. No? So we had to be flexible. I think that's also a unique trait of SM Supermalls is really we are pushed to innovate and constantly look for ways how we can improve and how we can better serve the public.
Yeah.
And we can only do that if kami ay in touch with our stakeholders. And that is done by either direct engagement, partnerships, consultation. Marami pang iba.
Sir, let's get down to this now. I mean, customers always define the direction of the business. But how about your suppliers po? How do you sort of engage them?
We engage them kasi tenants yung sa amin as a business, no, for SM Supermalls. No, isa sa mga direct stakeholders namin are our tenants. So especially at this time wherein we have to make sure that kumbaga yung their success is our success.
Yes.
So kailangan siguraduhin namin na sabay kaming gagalaw, no, na no one is left behind. So kaya nung na-share ko sa kanina, bukod dun sa on the business part, the rental concessions, kung ano man yung aming efforts, like we mobilize a lot of our digital assets, especially to support our tenants. So isa yan sa napakalaking ginagawa namin simultaneous move is to make sure na hindi na pag-iiwanan. And if you will notice also, Vernon, the way that we transform our community efforts, our CSR efforts, is also attuned with what's needed now. Kanina I saw that you showed may parks, no? Kasi ngayon nakita rin natin na that the community and the customers have evolved into being more vocal about their care for. So of course, SM as a community center, we've transformed several of our mall spaces into parks. Ganyan. So it's constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving and innovating to get our stakeholders.
Yeah, I think the good thing about SM is that it does not just provide jobs. Diba? Parang that has always been the role of business. The good thing about SM is when it does with its corporate social responsibilities that, you know, it makes the ripple in the lives of its, let's say, not just at the receiving end of the of help. You also
we're trying. We're doing our best. So we're trying as a member of the community. Palagi ang tanong namin, game. Kasi sometimes, you know, people, we're SM, malaki tayong pangalan sa Pilipinas, but we are just but one of the many players or many stakeholders in the country. We are from the private sector and we're just but one of the many. So that's why we always ask, saan tayo pwedeng tumulong dito? One example, I'd like to share with you one project, Vernon, that we did with SM Cares. No? This is on the part of resilience naman. Mr. Hansi he's very passionate about resilience, no? Especially during the time of disasters. Makita mo na, you know, we keep our malls open so that those who need a place for refuge pwedeng pumunta dyan, you know. Matagal lang ginagawa nila, hindi lang nila ina-announce, but we've always made sure that our malls become a place of refuge for the community, yung mga nasa stranded, the supermarkets are open sa mga ilangan ng supplies, those who can park, who need to park their cars sa mga flood areas, etc. And then on the part of CSR naman, since meron tayong sinusuportahan na advocacy on resilience, how do we help in terms of making sure that the vulnerable sectors of society like the PWDs and senior citizens are also prepared and informed. So starting 2016, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, 2015, we started our emergency preparedness forum specific to PWDs and senior citizens. Kasi tayo, with our mobility, kung wala tayong limitations on mobility, easily we can duck, cover, hold, we can run out of the building for shelter, etc. But for the marginalized, yung mga may limitations on mobility, paano sila? So this is just one example of how we think, no? So we consulted partners such as FIVOLCS, MMPA. In fact, even si Dr. Ted Esguerra, who is a known resource person on international survival. So noong 2019 yung pinakahuli namin, we did series of mall tours wherein ang audience talaga namin PWDs and again, because we need to make sure that the communities that we serve, especially those who are underrepresented, are also part of our growth and part of our resilience efforts. That's one of the examples.
Yeah, beautiful. Chito, I was actually sort of wondering, is it more costly to take this path to sustainability? Or, I mean, what's your ROI on this? I mean, why do you do this?
Kasi ngayon, it's not just, hindi na lang siyang basang advocacy. No? It's not just a matter of us doing this for publicity, doing this, hindi na lang basang, it really forms part of the business regimen na talagang kailangan na, you have to have sustainability and resiliency in mind. No? Also, because as we want to meet our progress to make sure that the future generation still has their resources. So we have to find that delicate balance between economic progress and caring for the environment. So yung tanong mo kanina, magastos ba? Yes, ako personally, I don't see it as that. No, it's really more of, it's part of how we serve the public, how we serve the community. Kumbaga hindi siya yung by the way. No. In fact, in our mall operations, every time we partner with SM Foundation for many of their community work, hindi na siya, it has become second nature for many of our employees to volunteer and to become part of the efforts of SM Foundation. So again, we work closely with them. So, kumbaga, I guess it goes beyond looking at magkano ba ang gastos, etc. But it's really more of looking after our stakeholders. Because again, going back sa sinabi ko kanina, for example, our tenants, our customers, their success is also our success. So it should not alienate the fact that it has to form part of our directions.
Practically, Chito, I mean, it's one way to make an impact. It's quite another to measure that impact. So what are your indices in sort of, just figuring out how much you've contributed to, let's say, to your stakeholders?
Okay, it's a good question. Siguro on the part of CSR, no? On the part of, in our case, no? When we do our events, ang habol kasi ang layon ng SM Cares noon, when, of course, until now, no? Is really about social inclusion and, of course, caring for the environment. So, karamihan sa aming partnerships, ang kanilang request, pag kinanong namin, how can we help the sector? How can we help the advocacy? Ang kanilang request is for them to be part of the mall. Really, it's social inclusion. So, that's why we have been having a lot of our events back then in the mall. No? Ngayon, syempre, we're shifting everything to, as much as we can to digital. Even before the pandemic, talagang social inclusion ang hinabol. So, when we have our communities come to the mall, not only are we able to address support which they requested or they need, which is, social inclusion, but also we're able to bring the foot traffic in the mall. No? Kumbaga, pumapangalawa na lang yun kasi ang habol talaga namin dyan is, sige, we should have our autism advocacy out in the malls. No? You'll have thousands of them. And then, of course, naturally, it follows na they're already there. Pag natapos yung activity, of course, siguro, magugutom na rin sila. They're gonna end up in any of the existing tenants. So, at least the foot traffic becomes one of our key measures. The participation level. And then, kapag sinimulan mo minsan yan, Vernon, sa isang mall, it gets replicated in the different malls. No? So, in effect, makikita mo na dyan, ilan yung nagpunta dito, ilang malls yung dumami. ilang malls yung nag-participate. And eventually, coming from us sa Supermalls, baka pwede namin i-share yan to the other business units of SM Prime Holdings kasi we are under SM Prime. So for example, yung aming trash-to-cash recycling market or the plastic collection, we do it at the mall level. But if it becomes something interesting to our SMDC group, why not? Then we get to affect and positively influence more communities. So yeah, I think that could be a good range or a good index in terms of defining the effectiveness of our CSR program.
Yeah. Do you see any macroeconomic trends influencing the way you do CSR in the future? Like, di ba, it's environment has always been close to your heart, as well as, you know, education, if you will, or whatnot.
Well,
So, what, sir?
Well, of course, the digital, matagal lang nandito. Napaspasan lang tayo when the pandemic happened. No? In fact, that's why we do have our SMLs online. We have increased and heightened our Viber community. No? And then the other thing I was asked in a separate discussion, how do we see it ba? Is it digital or malls? Kung ganyan. You know what we always believe is it should complement, it should be an omni-channel approach. So while the digital world is here, we've already been living in a digital world, omni-channel approach pa rin tayo kasi it has a lot to do with the experience. No?
Yes.
We come to the mall because we like to experience sometimes the fabric of the shirt or the scent of the. So it's
just being there.
Oo, at saka it's an omnichannel approach and it's a matter of providing the customers choices. Siyempre may mga bagay na mas gusto mong bilhin sa digital, pero hindi natin maalis kung minsan as a society to still meet our friends. So nandyan palagi, so makita mo dyan yung safety protocols, etc. So the mall is still there for the family to experience. No? So so I guess that's one global trend, yung digitalization. Pangalawa, tama ka, on matters of sustainability, we are faced a generation who is very much attuned and very much immersed with sustainability. They're the ones who are more conscious of the products which they purchase or the brands which they patronize. Yan. So I think these are the top two things that I can think of. Yung stakeholders, yung market that we are facing right now.
Yeah. So omni-channel experience, it's very characteristic of SM being, you know, we got it all for you, sir. So,
we're trying. Kasi syempre, ano pa rin sometimes, ako personally, I have to think outside Metro Manila. Ano ba yung experience naman ng ating mga kababayan sa Davao or sa Cebu or sa Cagayan, no? So, iba-iba rin yan. Hindi mo pwedeng basta tanggalin yung mall experience. Basta safe tayong lahat when we go there. And then yung mga gusto naman ng digital shopping, we have the SML's online platform. You know, we have the Viber community platform. We have our personal shoppers platform. So, we see it as complementing one another.
Yeah. Tsaka tangible pa rin, di ba, kapag ganyan?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, you are watching Kalingang Katribu. When we come back, we're just gonna play a little bit, you know, of a game to get to know Sir Chito more. So, we'll be back.
Iba ng panahon, ang dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga parties, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
watching Kalingang Katribu with SM Supermalls, Chito Bauzon. So, Chito, we're going to play a little game. It's called Never Have I Ever. Yeah. So it's gonna be very personal. So bear with us, sir. So you are going to answer, yeah, yes or no, and then you elucidate on your answer. So here goes. Never have I ever nawalan tulog because of work.
1 to 24. I guess not in the recent years, but
Maybe younger.
Maybe not 24 hours, mga 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Yeah, it did happen, but yeah, very short hours of sleep. But back when I was much younger, nung kaya pa yung puyatan.
Yeah. Sir, have you ever embarrassed yourself in front of your team?
Oh yes. Yeah, a couple of times. Hindi ko na maalala pa specific instance, but yeah, a couple of times. And I guess that's it's part of leadership. It's part of management. You're able to go with the punches, go with the flow, especially with your team.
But sir, how is it like? I mean, additional question. How is it like to be at the C level, position? I mean,
I don't even think of it. I don't even think of it. No, for me, when I first took on the assignment to handle corporate social responsibility, I did it because I really wanted to. You know, I draw my inspiration from my mother. No, she's passed, but when I was young, I saw that she did a lot of these things. Even before I knew it was CSR. So, yung tanong mo, I don't even think of it that way, no? Kasi isip ko, okay, ano yung mga kailangan natin gawin? I come to work with that objective. How can I be better than yesterday?
Yeah. So, in terms of your leadership style, you've always bring good ideas on the table. Have you ever regretted suggesting?
I never have ever regretted an idea. I said, no.
Yeah.
In fact, kung minsan, may isip lang ko, I just suggest it, whether it's acceptable or not. It's part of anyone's profession, I guess. Now, regardless if it's with SM or another company, but it's part of anyone's professional journey.
Yeah. When you get tired of your subordinates or colleagues, have you ever walked out?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first time admitting it publicly, but yeah, I've not a lot naman, but quite a few times. No? Minsan umaabot ka rin sa ganun na you just need to compose yourself, no?
Yeah. Ito, answer. Parang, although this one doesn't really apply for you, kasi di ba, it always comes up not down. Have you ever come up with a fake excuse for being late?
Well, bigyan ako nalilate. I'm usually early, but I must have. I guess, I'm not gonna lie about it. I've been working for almost 20 years now, so maybe not with SM, but when I was much younger.
Yeah. Chito, it has been a delight having you today here at
Thank you
Kalingang
so
Katribu.
much.
Yeah. Final words, sir.
Okay, una sa lahat, Vernon, maraming salamat sa'yo, sa Daily Tribune, para sa ibinigay niyong pagkakataon sa SM Supermalls for us to discuss our CSR programs, our partnerships, our stakeholders, and our vision. So napakalaking bagay po nito for us that we are connected with you as a partner and of course with our stakeholders as a partner. So kami po ay nandito lang, tuloy-tuloy na nakikipagtulungan at partner with both the public and private sector. As a responsible member of the community, SM Supermalls is here to be of service to the Filipino people. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Again, Chito Bauzon ng SM CSR. Thank you po.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And that's it for today's Kalingang Katribu. My name is Vernon Velasco. Good afternoon.
Thank you.